D. Christopher here from the Penguin Magic team. I would like to welcome you all to another episode of P3TV. Let's have a quick look what is coming up this week. Josh is going to talk about making the Raven even more deceptive over Instagram and live. Roddy is going to talk to us about one of his favourite tricks of all time. We have a clip from Derren Brown live, and finally we have a live performance of AOK 2 by Lewis Le Val. We have a lot of content to fit in this week, so I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to send you right over to Josh. He's going to talk to you about the Raven, one of the most popular vanishing devices of all time.
Hello everybody, Josh Birch here, and today I'd like to talk about the Raven. This is what it looks like. And this is what it looks like with wiggly fingers. The Raven has claimed the title of Penguin Magic's most popular vanishing device of all time. It was released almost 20 years ago, but it has more applications today than ever before. If you have performed with the Raven in the past, you know that you need to wear a long sleeve shirt or a button-up shirt or a jacket. Well, if you order the effect today from Penguin Magic, I'll show you how to do a whole bunch of amazing effects in just a t-shirt. It looks great on camera, and it's perfect for all of your social media videos, but it's also something that I perform live. This is the vanish that I usually do off camera. When you order the Raven from Penguin Magic, you will receive everything that you see here, a box full of props, as well as the 2-hour instructional video from Nick Lacapo.
So that was the Raven, and how to do it completely sleeveless. It's a fantastic device with many applications, all of which you can learn when you buy the device from Penguin Magic. Now let's hear from Roddy McGhie, creator of Little Door, amongst many other things. And he's going to talk to us about a trick that he performs in every single gig that he did not create. It's actually his opener, and I know this because every time we shoot, I see him performing this trick and killing with it before he goes into his own material. So this is Roddy McGhie talking about Stand Up Monte.
Hi there, Roddy McGhie here for Penguin Magic, and I'd like to talk to you today about one of my favourite effects, Stand Up Monte by Garrett Thomas. I absolutely love this effect. I've performed it countless times over the years and it never fails to get amazing reactions. It's based on the very popular 3-card Monte plot, but each phase sort of builds an impossibility to this eye-popping climax that makes you look like a sleight of hand ninja. Now, it uses the same very simple deceptive move throughout the whole routine, but you will need to practice this to get it down smoothly, but man is it worth it. It is absolute killer. I cannot recommend this highly enough, so if you don't perform this or you haven't seen this before, do yourself a favour and head over to Penguin Magic.
Perhaps I can locate a clip of Roddy performing Stand Up Monte and maybe I'll drop it in as the performance in a future episode. But for now, we're going to stay in the UK, but travel back in time to a point in which Derren Brown met with Dan Harlan, amongst many other people, and imparted some of his fantastic wisdom. This is Derren discussing his philosophies on magic on stage.
The key is always understanding, particularly with magic. A thing with magic I always find so interesting is that it all happens, the entire experience is in the heads of the people watching. And it succeeds or fails based on that. You know, you can go to a play and not get it, or it can go over your head. That doesn't mean the play has failed, it just means you haven't got it. Likewise, you can go to a concert and not like the music and not get it, and you've just missed it, that's fine. But with magic, it's entirely about that experience with that person. But most magicians, certainly me for a long time, your concerns are much more sort of ego-driven. They're more based around what people are going to think of you and what impression you're giving off, and let alone the methods. So there's a wild difference between, we all learn what's good and commercial when you're doing close-up around a table, those considerations, we're all aware of those, but it's less talked about on stage because I guess fewer people do it. And so for me, it's always about you've got people trapped in a room with me, for a few hours. What is that world that they're coming into? What sort of experiences and moods and moments and things do you want to leave those people with? That was always the starting point. So I think it's the same thing, whatever you're doing, but it's difficult to grasp that if your experience is in close-up magic, and then you're doing a stage, or even if it's only for sort of 20 people above a pub or something, it's a world of difference. Because you've had people that are sat there waiting, and before you even walk out and anticipating a show, and if there's only 12 of them in a little room, that's much more exciting, potentially, than 500 people in a room, so they would start to expect something really special. And if you come out and you're essentially just doing close-up magic, that's immediately very disappointing to start with, Having to start off with something that you don't then, and that's not just a trick, but just the opening of what you do, that you're setting a bar at that point. If you start low, it's a real effort to then drag people up to where you want them after that. So those first moments are so important. There's a whole load of considerations that in close-up really isn't. It's a very different sort of thing. So I think often it's about. They were always, told not to copy other magicians and be creative, which obviously is important. But at first, of course, you have to copy. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be magicians. There can be comedians or other performers that you love, and you just think, what is it about them that just really works? One thing I really value, I think all the best comedians have it. So I love like Louis C.K., but you also see it with George Carlin and Bill Hicks and all the sort of the greats. Is the idea of the vulnerable sage, which is how I think of it as. So somebody who is, irrespective of whether it's comedy or what they're doing, the ideas they're getting across are really good, serious, worthwhile ideas. But they're not preaching at you, and the reason why they're not preaching at you is that they deflect it back against themselves, that they undercut themselves, and that's where the comedy comes from. And that mixture of being vulnerable on the one hand, but equally imparting worthwhile stuff on the other, to me is a very potent mix. So that's something I kind of think about when, particularly with the last show, Infamous. That was, and certainly with the new one that I'm starting to think about now, that's a big thing for me. And that'll be different for different people. It might just be, if you like Eddie Izzard or somebody, what is it about him when he comes out that you're just immediately with him? And I see it. I used to go to magic conventions, and often it just works the other way. A magician comes, you can tell the difference between, David Williamson comes out, and within 3 seconds, you're relaxed, you're on his side, and somebody else comes out, and you're just, oh, no, he hasn't said anything, hasn't done a trick yet, you just, so you start to think about, what is it, what makes that work and that not work, which is a sort of copying, but I think it's those things. It certainly isn't about the tricks or the methods, let alone the methods. It's about understanding this is all going to happen in their head, and if there's people in an audience, that's different from people at a table that have been chatting and now I'm just coming in and got to get their attention. So it's how you manage that, and sometimes I think just looking at other performers that you like, but not magicians, so you don't get too distracted by the tricks.
Wise words from the master of mentalism. Now that's just about all we've got time for today, but I'm going to drop a clip in at the end of Lewis Le Val performing his famed routine AOK 2, so you can see a full extended performance and get a feel for what this routine is really like. It's been incredibly popular, almost as popular as the original AOK, which is performed by thousands upon thousands of magicians around the world to create a realistic demonstration of mind reading. This new project takes it a step further, and you'll see exactly how in this next clip. So thanks again, and I will see you next time.
Here's the situation we're in. You've either written something, like a question that you'd like an answer to, or you've written an interesting fact about yourself, or you've drawn a picture. It could be anything. What I'm going to show you now is something known as psychometry. It's basically the idea that you can hold on to a personal item that belongs to somebody, and then just by paying close attention to the thoughts and the feelings you get from holding on to that item, it should be able to tell you a little bit about the person that it belongs to. So, do each of you have an item that we can use for this? It will never leave your sight, and I promise you will get it back in exactly the same condition. Just something small that I could hold in the palm of my hand like this. Yeah, that's perfect. If you could leave it on the table.
This is my lucky Paddington Bear 50p.
Excellent. Okay, so again, so I know this is important to you as well, but like with your watch, is it okay if I hold on to this in my hand? Excellent. So if I try this, so I know these items mean a lot more to you, but these also belong to you now as well because you've drawn or you've written something on it. So we'll start with this one. And just by touching this already, I get a sense that it belongs to you, Warwick. So can you place your item in the palm of my hand? So we'll leave this here. So the item itself doesn't matter. I don't need to look at it or try and look at any details on it. Just by holding it, I should be able to do this. So I think you were going to draw something, but then you decided not to. I think you took the opportunity to write a question that you would like an answer to. A question involving, it is something really important. Obviously. I think this involves travel in some way. But I don't think it involves work. I think you would travel there to enjoy it and then work would come afterwards. So if you think about the question that you're asking, this is something about... Are you asking me what country you're going to move to?
Yeah, essentially,
Yeah?
Yeah. So, do you want to know the question?
Was it something along those lines? That's what I get from holding on to this. It feels like...
The question was, which country will I be happiest in?
Which country would you be happiest in? Okay, so close enough.
Yeah.
All right then.
It's what I was originally going to write, but I just wanted to word it a little bit differently so that you understood what I actually wanted. I wanted happiness from the country, not work or live. I would choose.
Yeah, so like what I said, it doesn't involve work. You go there for the enjoyment of it, and then work would come afterwards. What country would you be happiest in? I feel as though you've looked and thought about different places already. I do get a sense that you're the type of person that wouldn't want to spend the rest of your life living here in the UK. And I get a sense that you're the type of person that sees yourself somewhere in a hot country. I think you'd enjoy the sun, somewhere close to the beach. And I think you'd be happiest in that one place that you've already visited and you thought, you know what, I don't want to go home. And you know exactly where I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah? And I don't know the name of this place, but I get a sense that that is exactly where you'll be happiest. And I feel, you knew that already, you were just waiting for somebody else to confirm it, is that right? Excellent, okay, so that's the best I can do from holding on to your item. Thank you so much. It's okay if I look at your handwriting, it might be able to tell me a few extra bits. All right then. Okay, so which country will I be happiest in? What's interesting about your writing as well is you're the kind of person that you won't overthink something to the point where you don't end up doing it. And is it okay if I show JP?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Which country will I be happiest in? What your handwriting tells me about you is you're the kind of person that it's okay if things don't go as well as you plan. I think in the past you've tried to do things and they've not failed but not happened as well as you wanted them to. And over time, you've got this ability to adapt. So even if you do move to this new country that you've been thinking about, even if you get yourself there and it's a struggle and it's difficult and you're missing friends and family, I get a sense already that you're the kind of person that will make it work. You just won't give up at the first hurdle. Does that sound like you? Excellent. And so Warwick, I don't think there's any reason why you shouldn't go to this new place and be absolutely happy. Thank you.
Thank you. That's exactly what I needed to hear.
It's exactly what you needed to hear.
What is the place though?
Cambodia.
Cambodia, beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful, heart. People are amazing.
So, do you know, I nearly said that as well. I should have just trusted my instincts. Yeah, I nearly said Thailand, but yeah, I will do. Okay, so now JP, for your item, so if I just hold on to this. Yep. Again, I think you were gonna write an interesting fact about yourself, and then did you asked a question and you drew something? All right then. Now what's interesting is you gave me like a coin to try this with.
Yeah.
But it's an important one to you. It's like a collector's edition or something like that. So would it be right in saying your question involves money? But it's not something like when am I going to win the lottery? It's not about the lottery. But it also involves something. So I see that you're interested in this coin, obviously. So this also involves an interest of yours, like a sport. Yeah. Are you asking me something about football?
Yeah.
You are?
What's funny is like I'm American, I know nothing about football, but being
so American football or like the soccer, yeah. Okay. I think I know what your question is. Are you asking me when you're going to win a football bet?
No way.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Honestly.
That's what it feels like.
It's always a 50-50 chance, isn't it? So 50p, 50p.
And my answer to you is, you will win when you're at a time in your life when you need it the most. So this doesn't mean when things are looking down for you, don't go and throw all your savings on a football game. Of course, still be reasonable about it, but my answer to that is you will win a football bet when your life needs it the most. When everything's going good and great in your life, there's no space to be winning things because you're already making things happen for yourself. But when that time comes, when you're feeling a bit down and a bit gloomy, place your bet then. And again, I wouldn't recommend gambling or placing bets, and usually I wouldn't tell people that. So don't go and throw your life savings on it. Even if you were to bet this 50p on that, it'll just feel right. And if you were to bet this on it, your winnings might not be great in terms of what you get back money-wise, but what you will win and how it makes you feel afterwards could change your entire life around. So it doesn't have to be a large money bet or a large money win. What you'll get from it is so much more, even if it's just a small amount of money. And that'll be done during a time when you don't feel your best self. And I hope that answers your question. Is it okay if I look at your writing?
Yeah,
Did you draw a football as well?
Well, it was a,
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, so, yeah, exactly.
Old school football.
An old school football, like a basketball, more like. Excellent. So gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing me to try this with you. JP, excellent, thank you. And Warwick, thank you so much as well.
Don't forget to follow us on all of your socials. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, anything else you can think of. Just search Penguin Magic and we will pop up.